in uh, if you want to. Yeah, so the recording has started. Meha, over to you.
Yeah, cool. So everyone, hello. So as you know, my name is Meha. I've been working with Australia Post for 1.5 years as a cloud security engineer. So I am working on AWS platform. So my profile is a little bit different from a cybersecurity engineer to a cloud security engineer. So I can tell you what's the difference between both of them. But it's related to security side. Yeah. So I'll share my couple of slides that I have made. And if anyone has any shoot your questions or write them in the chat session. So whatever you are comfortable with. And I'll share my screen. Okay. All right. So let me know if you guys can see my screen. Thumbs up.
Yes, yes, we can.
Cool. So as you know, my name is Meha and I'm a cloud security engineer. So that's my LinkedIn profile if anyone wants to have a look. So I have done a certification with AWS, which is a practitioner, which is kind of a basic one. I'm due to do another one, cloud services associate for AWS again, which I'm waiting. I don't know why. I have already prepared for that. Just a bit nervous to do the exam. But yes, so that would be my next step to do. So and I am working with Australia Post for more than 1.5 years. But if we see I'm working with Australia Post more than 2 years now, I have worked with Australia Post in the distribution center and retail for almost 1.5 years there as well. So yeah, please do ask questions. I feel like I'm talking to myself. And so here's my work experience that I have done over the 7 years. Now I would say 9 years. So I finished my master's in computer applications in 2013. Yeah, 2013 or 2014. And after that, I started working as a Oracle database administrator. I worked there for 2 years, which was back in India, where I belong to. And after that, when I came to Australia with my husband, and I had a visa restriction where I could not leave a regional area. So I had a restriction to study, work, and live in regional. So as we know, back on those days, we didn't have option to work from home or not many opportunities in the regional area, especially in the IT field. So I did apply. It's not like that I haven't applied for the jobs. I did apply multiple jobs, many jobs. That time I didn't get any response, or if I got, but didn't get selected. But and then that time I kind of dropped the ball. Okay, let's do what I'm doing. So I was working as a housekeeping attendant, which is like a major shift from IT to hospitality and in housekeeping. But I kept on doing that for nearly 5 years, and finished my job in the hospitality as a housekeeping manager. And after that, I have a little one who is 4 years old now. So I was on maternity leave. When I went back to work after maternity leave, COVID hit and I lost my job that time. And then I thought it's the best time to upskill myself. And that time, during the COVID, government had also made cybersecurity and other few courses kind of free, I would say, for the residents, Australian residents or citizens. So I enrolled myself in Victoria University and did the certificate for as a part-time. So it took me 2 years to finish that course. So it was a 2 years part-time course, which I finished last year in June month. And then I started working with Australia Post as well. First in the distribution center for a couple of months as a Christmas casual, and then moved to retail industry for 1 year. For almost 1 year, yeah. For 1 year, and then I was meanwhile I was looking for IT jobs as well while I was working in retail, and luckily there was a job position in Australia Post internal, where they were looking for cloud security engineer, and I did apply for that one, and it was it was okay. It was four. I had to do the 4 interviews. It feels like it was the internal job, and I got it very easily, but it was not like that. So I did 4 rounds of interview, one with HR, one with cloud services manager, and then with cloud services team members who were like senior members, and then again with another head of the cloud services. So it went for 4 interviews, and it started like in the June month, and kind of got the offer in October to join. So it was dragging and it was tiring to think about as well. Did I get the job or did I not get the job? What's happening? And sometimes I was feel like if I talk too much to HR, like if I keep on bothering to HR, probably they won't give me the job because I'm bothering them a lot. But I did kept on asking them like a couple of times a month that what's happening, and they were updating me that they have some kind of delays to offer the job, but they did tell me verbally that you got the job, that you did so well in the interview. So if we see, if you want to know more about my interview, what they asked, mostly they asked about security related questions, because it was advertised as a junior position. So the questions were also basic questions related to security, like what's the difference between authorization and authentication, right? So it's kind of, if you see, they both kind of same, but in IT field they do different scenarios, and they did ask about the basic IT questions like binary and all. So yeah, and it was really good. So what I did learn from that interview, that if you don't know anything, do not make up things if you're not confident enough that whatever you are saying it's correct or not. Because the people who are taking your technical interview, like the seniors, they have quite a good knowledge, and they always catch you that you're lying. So it always give a bad impression. So if you don't know anything, I would suggest straight away say, no, I don't know about this one. I might get back to you on that, or whatever you feel like saying at that time. You can say that. And yeah, since then I've been working with Australia Post. Some people do ask me, what's the work-life balance working in IT, especially given that I have a young family, right? So I had these questions before. So I would say every job is stressful, whether you work in an IT field or a non-IT field. When you go in a higher level of the jobs, it does get stressful, even if you are in the retail industry or somewhere else, it is stressful. Working anywhere is stressful. So it's up to us how we manage our personal lives. But definitely in IT, given the COVID situation and all, like most of the companies have offer of hybrid working or purely from work from home, yeah, it becomes more easier to manage personal life as well. Plus, definitely you get weekends off and public holidays that you don't get in retail industry. So it's a bonus. Yeah. Um, yeah. Do you do you guys have any questions on this one, or do you want me to cover anything else? Okay, I will take that as a no. Okay, so on to the next slide. So, like I said, I have 7 years of gap. Um, so we do have some ladies that want to get into the IT field or cybersecurity or cloud security. They do ask that we have that much gap between their studies and no experience, or they had some kind of IT experience and had a gap. So how do you cover that one? So one answer for that is skill yourself up, upgrade yourself. Either do a certification. It is not mandatory that you have to take a formal education like any certificate or a bachelor's again or a master's again. Um, there's a disadvantage of doing a master's, especially when you don't have experience. You don't have experience and you have a master's degree. Kind of here, what I found in Australian culture, they find like you are overqualified for the job, even though you are applying for a senior position. So they do look for some relevant experience plus a master's education if you're going in a IT industry. That's what I felt like, and that's so till this date, I never ever put my master's in my resume because that I have been rejected many times because of that only. So I don't put my master's in that. So might be I will put one day when I will get like a good amount of experience in the industry. So definitely, please upskill yourself. Do so if you have interest in cybersecurity, at least get a knowledge of a cloud environment, any of the cloud environment. Like we have three major clouds, AWS, GCP, and Azure. So start understanding what services they provide. All right. So at least you can write on your resume that you have a knowledge of environment. Never give up. Never think, okay, you have applied 100 of jobs and there is 100 of rejections, no interview calls. I have been there. I have been there. So I always had a thought when I was doing certificate four as well that I'm spending time because I was handling home, I was handling my kid, I was doing my job, and I'm studying part time as well. Um, and so I had that question, I'm putting too much efforts in everywhere. Will I get the job? I always had a doubt, but I never stopped applying for jobs, even though I'm getting rejections. But it kept me motivated and helped me to improve myself on my resume skills, on my interview skills, where I was lacking. So I always go back and work on myself. So never think that you got um, a rejection, that you're not worth enough. I would say take the opportunity and improve yourself on that, which is that what I did during the whole time. Always be positive, always keep yourself updated. So LinkedIn is a blessing, I would say, for everyone who works. So we have jobs advertisement as well these days on LinkedIn. Please connect to hiring managers or um, the consulting companies. There are so like I would say LinkedIn is the first platform where everyone is posting their jobs at this stage. After that, they will put on like Seek and on their websites, individual websites. So definitely keep yourself engaged with LinkedIn. Plus, LinkedIn also offer LinkedIn Learning where you can upskill yourself as well. So, sorry. Oh, yes, there's one more thing. So, ask for the feedback. If you have applied for the jobs and they just say you're not successful at this stage, and if they have given the emails or phone numbers, please do contact them back, maybe after a couple of days or so, but do that within a week time and ask for the feedback. What you can do to improve yourself. They most of them do reply back and tell what was the reason of rejection. Someone raised their hand.
Yes, yes. Um, Actually, I have no doubt. Like you said, you never worked in cloud before, right? You just studied as a part time.
Yeah.
So how do you like? You have recreated your resume with cloud experience, and how did you apply as a entry level if
Oh yeah.
you don't have any experience in cloud? Yeah.
Definitely. So when I was doing cybersecurity course, I did gain some knowledge in that course, which was practical. So I had I gained knowledge in networking, and then I learned Python language as well during that time. Plus, so in in the job profile that I applied, they literally asked for a Python language and some security knowledge. So so I had a knowledge of Python language plus other language as well that I learned in my previous job or even in my bachelor's degree as well. So I had a bit of knowledge of IT there. Um, and yes, definitely Python language did help me. I have seen in most cloud environments the development, not the development, the maintenance of the cloud environments is in Python language or Ruby. So definitely it's a good start. I always recommend everyone whosoever ask me if any programming language is required, I do tell them Python is a good start. Python is very easy language to start with, even though if you do not know any language. Um, so you can definitely start with Python language. At least I would say um, try to understand how the work flows in any kind of language.
We
Is
have
that
one more.
does that answer your question? Okay, I'll move
All
to
right,
the
we have one more question on chat,
yep.
Meha, if you want to address. It's from Kriti. She's asking, can you please tell us the daily task you do in your role as cloud security engineer? A brief overview will do.
Yeah, definitely. So I have that planned in one of my actually it's the next slide. So I will address that one now. So these are the that I could write off something day-to-day duties of a cloud security engineer. Um, okay, excuse me the mistake here. um, so educate other team members to keep in. So cloud is cloud is quite big, right? And I I'm working in the security side. So now we have developers who do the developing, who you make use of applications, integration, or third-party tools get access to the cloud environment. So there is all sort of work is happening in cloud, right? But so what's the work of developer is to develop things, right? They are developing applications, they are developing softwares, they are creating the access. They just know they want to get the work done, right? Sometimes they don't know what the path, or I would say what's the correct word, the way of working. Sometimes they don't know that it's not secure. Yeah, like say for example, they want a third party tool to access their application in the cloud. So what they do, they open a port from cloud to the application, right? But so what's the connection is like one to one is the best connection, right? That so only the third party tool will be able to access the cloud. But sometimes what they do, they open the port to everyone. Everyone means anyone on the internet who knows the IP can log in and access the cloud environment, which is very insecure. So this is like most of the attacks that happen, like a DDoS attack or malfunctioning. So it happens because of this one. So if so that's my job so we have a tool, detective controls we call it, or there are third-party application tools as well, like Lacework. I know these names can be overwhelming for you. I don't expect from you to remember all this, but I'm just telling there are few third-party tools as well that do these jobs for you, or you can customize your own or like handwrite your own tools. So here Python comes handy. If you know your Python language, you can use that to fetch that old data, because it's the time of automation at this stage. No one wants to do the ClickOps every single day. So we have, in Australia Post, we have close to 300 AWS accounts. I'm just talking about AWS, we have Azure and GCP on there as well, right? So you cannot go into 300 AWS accounts and see if someone has opened the port. It's just talking about one misconfiguration, right? There will be million of misconfigurations. So so here these tools or these language comes in handy where you run a code to fetch if there's any ports open, if there's any credentials leaked, if there's any buckets, or like I'm talking too much technical here. So if there's anything exposed to internet, in short. So that comes here, like in educating other teams or team members that you have done this wrong. So follow this document. So this is the best practices of security. Please make sure that in next time you do this and that, right? So here's the monitor security tools or assets to find any vulnerabilities or misconfiguration in the accounts. So this is a day-to-day duty that we do look. We do have the alerts system as well, that we do get alerts over our channels or emails that this is happening. So we do go and straight away respond to those alerts and tell the person who has done the misconfiguration and tell them to fix the issue. And always continuous efforts to make cloud infrastructure secure. So every month, I'm saying that's too much thought. Every other day you get a new release, a new feature added to the cloud, or there's an enhancement of a feature. So we always want to make sure that our clouds are up to date. They are not using, like say, a Python language. It has its version. So Python gets a new patch, right? So we want to make sure that the using it is using a newer patch, newer version. Because if the company has released a newer version, that means there is a issue in the older one. So we don't want to use the older version tools or anything. So we want to make sure that everything that we are using, so there are functions, programming functions that we use in the cloud. So we want to make sure they all are up to date. They are using the current version. They are not out of date. Why we are using that? Because most of the cloud providers, they stop giving the support. They don't support. They don't give the support if there's any misconfiguration with the functions, and if anything get compromised with those functions because they are using old versions. And so cloud providers do send alerts that your function is going out of date in 90 days or so. So it's again on to security engineers. So here cloud security engineer work is to make the cloud infrastructure secure, whereas cybersecurity engineer comes in on the monitoring. So it's a kind of another layer over the cloud security engineer of cybersecurity. So they do have live monitoring tools where they can detect if any one of, or if any host is trying to get into the system. So so that's the cybersecurity team does. So they can see, okay, there's an IP address. it is trying to connect to this IP from a long time, but it's getting denied because it does not have permissions. So what they do, they go and block the IP addresses, what they are trying to do. It's like that. So recently, Microsoft had this one, this attack, and we all know Medibank and Optus has a massive big attacks happened. So how this attack happens, first is the human errors. So someone left the endpoint open to the internet, so they had a data exposed to internet which got used, and hacker made their way into the system and exposed the data. So that's, again, it comes onto cloud security, that their data is secure. They don't have anything, any sensitive data exposed to internet, or anything exposed to internet. So making sure everything is secure. So always follow least privilege principle. So we do get requests from other teams that they want this permission to get this work done. They want this permission to get this work done. So it comes to me. I will assess that if I give these permissions to this user, will these permissions get misused? Shall we give them these permissions? So least privilege is like, give the least permission as much possible so that they can get their work done. The work doesn't get hold, or put a time limit on that. So we'll give you permission for, like, say, until this project finish, and then we'll revoke the permissions. So making sure that everyone has enough permissions to get their work done, never overly give overly permissions users. So yeah, again, detective controls, like I said, cloud is improving day by day. They have new features. So we are using custom detective controls that we have built up in-house. So we manage those as well. So keep on updating new controls as soon as new feature comes in. Like this one again, and keep yourself updated with the new features and improvements in the cloud space. So I can see a few more questions came in. So Kirti, does this answer your question? Like, so it's just a basic duties that I have mentioned. We do get, so I do work very closely with the cyber team, because cyber team gets the visibility that this thing happened, like some unknown user tried to log in to our AWS account. Meha, can you investigate? So they just give me that this is the alert that came in, can you investigate? So the investigation comes to us. We investigate further. So there are many more things that we do, but these are the main jobs that we have to be on the top of it every single day.
Yeah, thanks, Meha.
No worries. If you have more questions, please do ask.
Yeah, one more question. So what sites or the resources you follow day to day to keep you updated in cloud security or the cybersecurity space?
So I'll tell you a thing. So when you start looking at the Google, and every day it will keep on sending the alerts that this is happening. So I have never followed, but with work related, I think it's a Cloudflare. I'll check and I'll post in the Facebook group, chat group. I will check the link. What's the exact link? And I'll check that one and I'll post that one. Plus, and we do get notifications from AWS as well, because I'm majorly working on AWS. Or if there's any update that came in, so we do get in our work emails that these are the new things happening in AWS space. So AWS has its own documentation page that you can follow. I will post that link to there. So I would say everything is online and it's free for the cloud practitioner course. And definitely YouTube is the another source as well to learn more stuff. Regarding the news, like what kind of hacks are happening, like recently, when we had the Optus, right? So we did the same scan for on our systems as well, on our resources everywhere. That do we have something similar here? Because those kind of hacks were happening every single day on like big name companies, right? Like Medibank as well. So we do check everything up on a day-to-day basis. And usually, one more thing. So with the bigger companies, what happened? You have a cloud support, like we have with AWS and Azure and GCP. So like we get like full-fledged the high-level support, where they tell, okay, there is a misconfiguration in your account from a long time. Please fix this as soon as possible. So Vanaja, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, Meha. Actually, you were saying that you are working with AWS, so you are basically into the security stream, right? So you haven't done any security certifications yet, right? In AWS?
Security certifications, no.
No, right? So you
No.
have done only fundamentals, but in the earlier terms, like you said, you haven't mentioned masters in your resume yet.
No.
Yeah. Actually my profile is different like you, but I have done masters in cloud computing in Australia recently.
Yeah.
So, but I need to mention my masters here because I need to apply cloud roles from now. I
Yeah.
want to apply. So, further, if I apply for an entry level, it might be like you said, highly qualified. That's why I'm not getting selected. That's why my profile is getting rejected always. So
Yeah.
I have done Azure Fundamentals certification. I have done masters in cloud computing, and even though I have done projects in uni like masters, but even though I'm not a permanent resident in Australia, but I'm not getting any calls. Even my resume is always getting rejected.
Yeah.
So
Have you tried
if
consulting
I didn't
companies like
mention,
Hayes?
sorry for disturbing. If I didn't mention about a master's degree, if I need to update my graduation, it is completely irrelevant to IT because I have done electricals engineering.
Yeah.
I don't have any experience in IT before. I want to try for entry level in a cloud.
Yeah,
So,
so that's I did recommend before. So try to get in touch with consulting companies as well.
okay.
So because what's with the consulting companies, they like Hayes we have. So they are like a middleman between a company and so they do hear out before looking at your resumes. They do hear out what you are coming from, what's your experience, what you are ready to go into. Right. And then they do get the job opportunities. Sometimes they do get, sometimes they do get entry level opportunities as well from the companies.
Okay.
At this stage, let me tell you one more thing. At this stage in our company, we have lots of vacancies open, but no one applies. So we do contact consulting companies as well, and and we outsource them.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely give it a try. And have you tried LinkedIn jobs as well? I have seen.
Yeah, I've been a member from last 3 years when I started masters here.
Yeah.
So I've been contacting many connections through LinkedIn, but nothing worked till now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
definitely
hoping to
try.
get. Yeah, I destined to try. I never give up. Okay.
Yeah, definitely try consulting companies too.
Okay.
Many
Thanks.
of them, like Hayes, I know. Someone was telling me that they do have entry level positions come up, but again, then you have to.
Yeah, but But as for like I saw that for an entry level, I may be over skill qualification, master's degree, but I don't have any experience like before. I just done masters, but I didn't do anything in cloud.
Yeah. So,
So
like I said,
yeah,
I have done the masters too.
yeah.
It
So
kind
that's
of
why I asking
like
like you done masters, but you haven't mentioned in your resume yet. Yeah, yeah.
never. I have never mentioned, and probably at my workplace, no one knows that.
Yeah, correct.
It's the reason of that. I'll tell you. So, masters is like here it's considered as like you have like literally mastered in IT, right? Um, so plus what happens when you have a higher education, they think that by default that you are looking for a good thing as well, but not in your case, or not it was in my case. We were looking to get our foot into the IT industry, right? um so that's where consulting companies come into handy, and they might they can review your resumes as well, and they do help in applying for the jobs and interviews too. So definitely I would say give it a try and register with Hayes. I can't remember the other names, but there are quite a few that work into this one.
Oh, thank you, Meha. I'll try. Try to contact his. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have another question from Mavish. So you did certificate 4 in cybersecurity and then AWS certification are both different fields. What do you find more difficult? Okay. So I would say they are different fields, but they are interrelated. Mavish, they are interrelated. So cybersecurity is again, um, so again, it's like they are getting alerts, or they know there are some hacking system going on, but it's going on to the cloud, right? So still you need to understand the basic services, um, what a cloud provider is providing and what kind of hacks can happen on those services. Um, and you still need to understand the networking in the sense how data flows in your cloud if you do not have such kind of knowledge. So I would say they both goes together really well, cybersecurity and any cloud certification, because that will make you understand what basic services a cloud provider is providing and what your company is using and what's the use case of it, and how you can make them secure. And yeah, again, what kind of hacks can happen in that. Mavish, do you have any question on that? No? I'll jump to another question then. Your past experience does play an important role part in your current role. Do you think so? So my past experience, like, do you mean the past experience in database or non-IT experience? Either case, it did help me. Like having basic IT knowledge did help me to crack this interview. Um, and if you're talking about a non-IT role, what I did, it did help me again because I know how to handle people. Now, even if like now I've been working for 1.5 years with Australia Post in IT, um, and they could, if I apply for the like, okay, I have a little, I have a little one. Give me a sec, please. All right, apologies for that. So yes, a non-IT experience did help me too. Maybe it just helped me understand how to talk to people, how to crack the interviews, and that. And now, even if I apply for the tech lead role, my past experience will help me. That will count because I have done a managing job, so it will help me in the current role as well to uplift myself. Yeah, that can help definitely. So any kind of experience do help in any kind of job, right? Okay, so let's go to another question. Do you need CCNA or CSP? You don't need, but you can get it done. CCNA is purely for networking people who handle the networks in the cloud or on-prem. So CCNA is purely a networking certification. CISSP is for the security plus networking. Did I do security associate for AWS? No, no, I haven't. So again, so while I'm in the field, if I do the certification, it will help me for my pay rise. And it does support my experience as well, that I have experience and I have gained the certification. I know I'm lazy in that case. I should be doing that. But definitely, again, like I said, like as master degrees, do not do too much certifications if you do not have much experience. Definitely prepare for the certifications. But do not overdo your certifications as well. They do back up with your experience, like how much experience you have. With the fundamentals like cloud practitioner, as I did with AWS, I did when I was employed, so I didn't do that before the interview as well. But I did tell them during the interview that I'm willing to do certifications as well if required. But definitely yes, I haven't. Yeah, it's a good to do 1 or 2 certifications if you do not have experience, but do not overdo that as well. They do reflect certifications is like kind of achievement what you have done with your experience. Okay, all right, so I have covered all of the questions. Please keep on posting in the chat session. I will jump onto my last slide, which will tell you more about so like what I have done is certificate 4 in cybersecurity, upskill your certifications like CISSP, CompTIA Security Plus, AWS Cloud Practitioner or Azure Fundamentals, or any basic knowledge of any cloud provider. So these are the basic certifications that I would recommend either take 1 or 2, but do not go beyond this one. They are like we have AWS security specialty. That is, even AWS recommend take the certification when you have 5 years of experience or at least 3 years of experience in a security field. So definitely do 1 or 2, especially 1 to understand the cloud fundamentals, what services they have, how they work, this and that. And then another is the security one that you can definitely jump in for. And then programming, most of the roles, even if it's a cybersecurity or a cloud security, they do require some kind of like a knowledge of any coding. Even though if you understand how the code flows, how it works, that would be a bonus too. Like you can put that in your resume. Plus, I would say Python, as I mentioned before, Python is the best to start with. And I have seen many job advertisements where they ask for Python or Ruby. So these are the 2 languages. Ruby is a little bit hard, But if you know Python, how it goes, you can understand Ruby as well. So definitely there's a website. So I'll make notes. I'll keep those links. So I will post the website so where you can learn basic Python language. So or any kind of language. It's like a website with all the languages. And then entry-level jobs that we have in the market is cybersecurity technician or cybersecurity analyst, support, network security support, cloud security engineer, cloud security analyst. So even though if you are unable to crack your foot in the security field, I would say go with other option as well, like service desk or anything, because once you are into the field, you can jump yourself in other teams as well as soon as job arises. Because what I have noticed that every company prefers internal employees because they have kind of a data how you perform, how you work with the team members, this and that, and they do prefer internal employees. Plus when you even if you go into the different field like a service desk, you can understand their environment, like how they are flowing, how they're working, and you can upskill yourself accordingly and apply for other jobs too. So it's not mandatory, like you have to get into the security field straight away. So you can do online courses like for cloud practitioner or any fundamentals or any kind of certification that you would like to do. So we have Udemy or a cloud guru. They like you do have to pay annual fees. Sometimes Udemy has, most of the time Udemy has like 50% off on their subscriptions. You can definitely check that one out. And then we have this program, Digital Jobs Victoria. I'm not sure if this is still running, but I think it's still running though. So this is the link that you so it's like djpr.vic.gov.au digital jobs. So they offer 12 weeks of internship and 12 weeks of unpaid 12 weeks of like the study thing, and then 12 weeks of unpaid internship. And so altogether 24 weeks program, 6 months program. So that's what they offer. And like it's a good thing that they are responsible for the internship. You don't have to find yourself. And if you perform well in your internship, 12 weeks is a good amount. If you do well in your internship, and sometimes companies do hire for that one as well. And it's not like they are putting internships in the local companies. They do go for good named companies as well. So definitely give that a try. And yes, another option is internships as well. And there are graduate programs as well that run, like especially sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name. Like you said, you have done master degree, but you're not getting anything. So you can definitely apply for the graduate programs. So most of the companies do hire graduate analysts, graduate tech academies, and do have a look there as well. Keep on applying. I would say never give up and keep on applying and keep on improving yourself. Yeah, that was from me. If you have any questions, please write in the chat box or raise your hands. Let's stop sharing as well.
Thanks, Neha. That was really insightful, and I totally agree with you. Like keep applying, don't give up. it's once you enter the field, it's things change. Entry is always the most difficult task, but it's not impossible. Keep working hard, girls. I would like to take a screenshot of everyone if you guys are okay to on your videos. Those who are okay to be taken a snapshot of the presentation of your attendance. If you're fine with it, I will start with mine.
And I have one more question that just came in. Do you need networks background? No, you do not. You don't have to. So in IT, I will explain one more thing. Like in IT, there are people for every different thing. There is a different team for networking. There's a different team for security. There is a different team for development. There is a different team for cyber, and there's a different team for database. There's a different team for business analyst. So you don't have to learn every single thing in one day or in one goal. So just take one field if you are comfortable with, like if you are into the development, take just development and keep on improving on yourself in that field, because every in IT looks like it's small, but it's like a vast. Every companies, like major companies, have different teams for every work. Okay.
We still have 6 minutes, guys. In case you guys have more questions, we can still take it, I believe, Meha.
Yeah, definitely. Most companies have aptitude tests for any entry level roles. Case yourself that you have the growth mindset and
Yes,
have
I
a
agree.
lot of capacity to learn quickly. I mean, my question is how to really ensure that. That's aptitude test is kind of a new norm, I would say. It is kind of required everywhere. Plus, I was talking to one of my colleagues today regarding the video interviews. I do not agree at all with the video interviews, and like it feels like you're talking to yourself and you're unable to express yourself in 2 minutes. And to be honest, I have failed 90% of those interviews in my life, so I don't agree at all with those interviews. But again, right, we have this is kind of a new norm. We have to upskill ourselves on this one, and we have to get over that one. And in like you can explain yourself in the interview. So when you get an interview, definitely speak up, express yourself, what you have capability and what you can do. Always, like very first thing on your cover letter, always make your cover letter so expressive that like speak itself that you want to learn, you're willing to learn, you're willing to perform beyond the expectations of the hiring manager. Yeah. So I would say your resume and your cover letter must speak what you're willing to do. Okay. Okay, cool. Any more questions if anyone have?
Hi, Meha. This is Vinapriya. I have a question.
Yes.
So this is about learning cloud in general, not about cloud security. So I'm basically from a Java background, and I'm working in a production support role, but I'm curious to explore the cloud platform. So if I want to learn about like AWS or Azure, so what will be a good steps to start with? So any course or any websites would you suggest?
Definitely. So I mentioned here in this last slide. So we have Azure Fundamentals, and
Okay.
for AWS we have a Cloud Practitioner. These are the two certifications that cover the fundamentals of these two clouds. I'm not sure
Okay.
about the GCP, but GCP also offers, and
Okay.
sometimes AWS, Azure, and GCP do their 1-day training session, which is kind of free, and it's for fundamentals where they give overview.
Okay.
So you need to keep on checking their website or set up some alerts.
Okay.
Or again, LinkedIn there. So you get notifications on the LinkedIn as well if they have something coming up.
Okay.
So again, definitely, if you want to get into the cloud, not in the security or in the security,
Mhm.
the best way to understand for the cloud is what services it has and how they
Okay.
work, so that you can get that information in Cloud Practitioner or Azure Fundamentals.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No worries.
I believe, guys, we are at the end of it. We are only 2 minutes left. Again, Meha, it was really insightful, very informative session. Even though I don't come from that background, and it was, if I could understand it, I can totally understand that other people here will be very impressed and can relate to it.
Thank you.
One more person joining, Ankita. Guys, who those wants to on the video, I'm going to take a screenshot in 30 seconds. I'll just wait for 30 more seconds. Any last minute questions or? Thanks, Venu. All right, there I go. 1, 2, 3. Your best shots, guys. 1, 2, 3. There it is. I'll take one more. Okay, Venu, I did capture you. So yes. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Meha. Guys, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, keep on like if you still have any questions, we still have Facebook group chat open for a while, so you can post your questions there, and I will shortly, either today or tomorrow, I'll post the links as well for any updates on the security side and any learning links or job profiles that comes up. So I will share those.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me here. The link of this recording will be available. We'll try to share it over the weekend. We'll have to upload it, and then Meha will send you a link for it as well.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Meha. Bye.
No worries. Bye.